Hey there, it's Yuko, your former teacher turned instructional designer. So I've always been very interested in the gamification of learning. So throughout my teaching career, I used a lot of ed tech programs and online learning platforms such as Education Perfect, Quizziz, Blooket, Kahoot, and the kids absolutely loved all of those activities because it makes learning fun. I mean, for my own learning, I love gamified learning as well. My current Duolingo streak is 1,870 days, so you can see how much I love language learning and gamified learning. This is a presentation that I completed in Apple's keynote on the benefits of gamification of learning. If I was ever going to do a PhD, it probably would be, or an EdD, like a Doctor of Education, it would probably be in gamification of learning.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuko and I'll briefly take you through some findings regarding gamification of learning. What are the benefits and implications of gamified learning in a primary years context? Gamified learning boasts engagement and sharpened 21st century skills, as well as claims of behavioral disorders, attention issues, emotional incapacity, and academic failure. Generally, disengagement with learning occurs in secondary school, and this could explain why most of the research is conducted on secondary and tertiary students. Moreover, primary education should be fun and captivating to cater to the age group of learners. Many articles utilize the following definition of gamified elements in gamification emanating from a conference given by Deterting in 2011. Gamification in education has been defined as the use of games, game-like activities, or game elements such as badges, leaderboards, tokens, or similar mechanisms to enhance learning, motivate students in the learning process, and/or increase engagement in an academic source. According to Deterting, gamification is using game design elements in non-game contexts to motivate and increase user activity and retention, with the intention of promoting meaningful learning. The compilation of results may have implied bias, as the aforementioned adverse effects of gamified learning were not found, but that could have more to do with the sparsity of research or the selection of articles. Al-Shamari concluded motivation increased in his sample of grade 6 learners. However, the sample size is minuscule and consisted only of male students. While this research utilized both qualitative and quantitative data, it is not inclusive and diverse, therefore the results are negligible. Saylor and Homner evaluated external data but concluded the narrow sample size was a major limitation. The study by Zanuddin and others was relevant to the Asia-Pacific context. Similar to the Al-Shamari study, it is a narrow study sample and may not be applicable to the greater population, as high school-aged learners studying Indonesian differ to PYP students in Japan or Australia, as the PYP encourages breadth of learning. The empirical study by Hamari and others also utilized differentiation through the ZPD, more specifically flow, a concept brought forward by Csikszentmihalyi in 1990. As this empirical study uses observation and monitors student progress, this methodology is in line with the PYP, focusing on assessment for learning. The longitudinal study by Putz and others analyzed data over an extended period of time. However, these are derived from other studies of secondary and tertiary age students. The study by Kurt and others was conducted on a small sample of primary students in order to encourage alternative perspectives on the relationship between gameplay and academic performance. The conclusions from this study may have limited relevance, as numerous factors which may influence the results remain unaccounted for. The results could be considered inconsequential, as terms such as slight increase and marginal are used. Similar to the research conducted by Saylor and Homner and Putz and others, Drummond and Sauer analyzed data from external sources. In this case, PISA outcomes from 2009. While the dataset is extensive, over 192,000 high school students from 22 OECD countries, only literacy, maths, and science outcomes were analyzed, disregarding transdisciplinarity, perhaps removing the applicability of this study. Pedagogical theory and expertise is evolving, and like our students, it is necessary to learn and adapt with 21st century skills, rather than a never-ending cycle of teaching how we were taught. These may not be seminal works, as this is a very new area of study with unlimited potential. One very obvious gap, and the focus of this research question, is large data sampling on the effects of various elements of gamified learning on general primary students and subjects in an Asia-Pacific context. Future research should focus on a larger sample size over a longer period of time. I suggest more longitudinal studies on all age groups on the effects of gamified learning in regards to motivation, engagement, and learning outcomes. Furthermore, research into gamified learning should be conducted in a primary context, as there is a clear paucity of research in this field. Clearly, there is more to be discovered in the field of gamified learning, but what is known now can be used in one's teaching practice, professional development, educational game development for a variety of disciplines, transdisciplinary learning, and conceptual learning. Thank you for listening. I look forward to hearing your advice and feedback.
Thank you so much for watching my presentation on gamified learning. I hope you learned a lot and you're more inclined to use gamification of learning in your EdTech, in your learning modules, or if you decide to develop any apps, learning apps. Please let me know. I'd be so excited to use them. If you liked this video, then please like, subscribe, and follow along.